Welcome to Business Matters. After talks between Salesforce and Informatica fizzled out last year, the two have struck a deal. Salesforce will drop $8 billion to buy the data management software firm. This will boost the company's push into AI. Salesforce's president and CTO hopes the integration will deliver autonomous and trustworthy AI agents for its clients. The San Francisco-based company helps manage customer relationships with its cloud-based software. And a U.S. lawmaker is assuring that the U.S. will maintain control over U.S. steel in a merger with Japan's Nippon Steel. Republican Senator David McCormick explained that the U.S. government will have a golden share. This would allow it to have veto power over key decisions. It was not clear if this was a new part of the deal beyond prior pledges made by both companies. The $15 billion takeover has been opposed by both the Biden and Trump administrations. And a former Federal Reserve economist is being charged with sharing sensitive information with Chinese intelligence agents. The indictment accuses John Rogers of sharing internal Fed reports, including information from the committee that sets interest rates. Prosecutors say he was a logical target for Chinese espionage because he had an important title at the Fed along with a growing affection for China. Rogers denies the charges, arguing he lacked access to high-level information. The indictment underscores broader U.S. concerns about China's intensified espionage activities, which include efforts to infiltrate institutions like the Fed, a linchpin of U.S. financial stability. A 2022 government report accused China of trying to influence the Federal Reserve since at least 2013 by offering money and other benefits. In the latest round of auto industry job cuts, Volvo is eliminating 3,000 positions. Economic uncertainty being claimed as the main motivating factor. The layoffs come as the Swedish automaker tries to resurrect its rock-bottom share price and drum up better demand for its cars by restructuring parts of its business and cutting costs. NTD's Sean Marshall has more.
Sweden-based Volvo Cars is eliminating 3,000 positions. It's part of a cost-cutting program that was started last year, and challenges from trade tensions and resulting economic uncertainty. The company said on Monday that around 1,200 of the job reductions would come among workers in Sweden, with another 1,000 positions currently filled by consultants, mostly in Sweden, also slated for elimination. The rest of the job losses would be in other global markets. Most of the jobs being cut are office positions. The company was sold by U.S. motor industry giant Ford Motor to China's Geely Holding Group in 2010. China overtook the United States in 2009 as the world's largest auto market in terms of the number of family vehicles sold. But the average cost was $13,000 cheaper than the average American cost of $30,000 for a family vehicle. Volvo Cars has its main headquarters and product development offices in Gothenburg, Sweden, and makes cars and SUVs in Belgium, South Carolina, and China. The group withdrew its financial guidance as it announced its cost cuts last month, pointing to unpredictable markets and weaker consumer confidence. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Can you guess the most expensive state to live in? Bill pay service Doxo has released this year's rankings, and a new state has taken the top spot.
The cost of living can quickly add up and can vary drastically based on zip code. Bill manager Doxo compared household costs across the country in its 2025 Cost of Bills Index. The report focused on 13 common household bills, including mortgage or rent, car loans and insurance, gas, electricity, cable, health insurance, and more. The index found the average U.S. household spends about $24,600 a year on these essential categories. This year, Hawaii was dethroned as the most expensive state to live in based on monthly bills. California has taken the title. Californians spend about $2,800 on monthly essentials. That's about 40% above the national average. As for the least expensive, West Virginia scored a three-peat. The average cost of bills in that state is about $1,100 a month. Dox's CEO noted that West Virginia's lower costs are offset by an economy that's still struggling to diversify beyond some traditional industries.
Tinned fish is trending as Americans look to save money in the face of economic uncertainty. We're not just talking about cans of tuna, sardines, and anchovies. There are more options these days like herring, mackerel, and calamari. Searches for tinned fish on Google have maintained an uptick since the holidays. And in the past 90 days, searches for Nuri's Portuguese sardines and spiced olive oil skyrocketed nearly 3,000%. Searches for Brunswick sardines and olive oil jumped 4,000%. Tinned fish is not only cheap, it's convenient and shelf-stable, plus it's a great source of protein. One fish industry executive calls the tinned fish the perfect compromise between canned tuna and the fresh fish case at your grocery store. Ethan Hunt, Lilo, and Stitch, the trio helped AMC reach new highs. From Thursday to Monday, the theater chain set all-time weekend records for the Memorial Day holiday. This was for admissions, food and beverage, and overall revenues at domestic locations. During that period, more than 7 million moviegoers went to AMC-owned theaters in the U.S. and internationally. This was AMC's most attended 5-day period this year and its best Memorial Day weekend in more than a decade. AMC credits its robust openings for the Lilo and Stitch live action and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And no more free checked bags at Southwest. Starting on Wednesday, the airline will charge customers $35 for one checked bag and $45 for the second. Southwest was the only major U.S. carrier that allowed customers to check 2 bags at no cost. This brings an end to the airline's free luggage policy for the first time in more than half a century. But for tickets purchased before Wednesday, a Southwest spokesman said passengers will still get 2 free checked bags. Southwest has announced major changes to its business model over the past year. That includes getting rid of open seating. The carrier is also rolling out basic economy tickets like those sold by other airlines. And as the summer travel season heats up, are you keeping your private information safe? From cafes to airports, it's become second nature for many of us to find and connect to free Wi-Fi. But free Wi-Fi could cost you. Here's how to keep your data safe.
When traveling, staying connected has become a necessity.
Wi-Fi or connectivity is very much like water and air.
But experts warn
Free and public Wi-Fi access points can be fraught with danger.
personal data can be big business for hackers and scammers, leading to an ever-growing number of threats to be aware of. A big one, the man-in-the-middle or evil twin Wi-Fi scam.
A Wi-Fi network that looks like the real legitimate one, but it's actually run by somebody who could be very nearby, trying deliberately to intercept your data. Passwords, logins, they could even hack into your computer.
Internet security expert and CMO president Eric Plam says these are some things to remember when connecting to that cafe, airport, hotel, or other public and free Wi-Fi. Be wary if it's too easy, even if free. Cafes, airport lounges, or hotels often ask for a password or room number. Once you do connect, check to make sure you're browsing on a secure site. You can do that by looking at where you type in a web address. It should say HTTPS. There also might be a symbol of a padlock, though this isn't always guaranteed to be safe according to the FBI. You should also refrain from logging into bank accounts or conducting sensitive transactions. And if you want to go a step further, buy a VPN or virtual private network, a service provided by lots of different vendors which creates a secure tunnel between your device and whatever site you're visiting. But the best option, according to Plam, use your own hotspot.
This is the most secure and convenient way to go.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Tuesday signed into law a bill requiring Apple and Google to verify the age of users of their app stores. It puts the second most populous state at the center of a debate over regulating smartphone use by children and teenagers. The law will require parental consent to download apps or make in-app purchases for users under 18. Utah was the first U.S. state to pass a similar law earlier this year. Lawmakers have also introduced a federal bill. The effect of social media on children's mental health has become a growing global concern, with dozens of states suing Meta and the U.S. Surgeon General issuing an advisory on safeguards for children. Meta, Snap, and X applauded the passage of the bill, but Apple and Google opposed it. They said it imposes blanket requirements to share age data, even with uncontroversial apps. Sidelined by AI with more expectations. That's how some coders at Amazon have described the adoption of artificial intelligence to the New York Times. Software engineers explained that AI hasn't replaced them, but instead they feel pressured to code faster and meet higher outputs despite having a reduced staff. A longtime programmer said it's more fun to write code, but working with AI tools, the job ends up being about reviewing code. Some have described this as a shift from thoughtful work to an assembly line job, and has also been compared to automation in Amazon warehouses. CEO Andy Jassy has argued generative AI offers big returns and cuts costs and is critical to stay ahead of competitors. U.S. stocks surged today. This comes after President Trump delayed a major tariff hike on the EU and consumer confidence jumped unexpectedly. All three major indices rose, the NASDAQ leading the way thanks to strong gains in big tech and AI-related stocks. The S&P 500 is now within 5% of its all-time high. This is the price 5,900 or so, just coming up about 2% there. And its investors seemed reassured by Trump's postponement of a 50% EU tariff. A sharp 14% rise in consumer confidence boosted market sentiment as well. Meanwhile, Fed officials signaled no immediate change to interest rates as they monitor the economic impact of tariffs. All 11 sectors of the S&P 500 rose. Airlines, semiconductor stocks, and mega cap tech outperformed. And that's it for today's Business Matters.